Hello everyone. I'm just gonna be making a video on chapter 3E. This is focusing on the second half of it only because this is where both of you are up to, both classes are up to. So let's just get to it. Just to reiterate, this is chapter 3E, okay, but this is the second half. Alright, the learning aim. We will calculate with decimals and understand how powers of 10 affect place value. Now, hopefully by the end of this day, you can pretty much multiply decimals and divide decimals. And this is without powers of 10. Okay, so let's get to it. All right, multiplying decimals. So we have 3 steps. Step 1 is ignore the decimal points and multiply normally using the column method. What that means is just like using the working out method, so like 19 times 7, stuff like that, and you just figure out the answer afterwards. Okay, that's what step 1 means. Step 2 means count how many decimal places there are in the original question. And then step 3 is apply step 2 to your answer in step 1, counting backwards. Now I'll show you how this works. So I'll go through both of them. So I got 2.57 times 3. So just following based off step 1, I'm just going to ignore the decimal points for now and just multiply normally. So what I would write is 257 times 3, just like that. And now you're going to find the answer to this, okay? So 7 times 3 is 21. Put the 1 here, carry the 2. 5 times 3 is 15 plus the carry 2 gives me 17. So put the 7 here, carry the 1. And then I've got 2 times 3, which is 6, plus the carried 1 gives me 7. So my answer so far is 771. Now, step 2 says count how many decimal places there are in the original question. Now, this applies to both numbers. Let me just apply this. So this applies to both numbers. Okay, so that means in this case, I have to look at the 3 and the 2.57 here. I have to look at both of them. Now, so far, I only count 2 decimal places in 2.57, and in the 3, there's nothing. So far, there's only 2 decimal places here. So just jot that down. Now, after we've done step 2, we're now going to apply this to step 1, so which is our answer here in red, and we're going to count backwards. So basically, start from here, and we're going to count 2 backwards in this case. So I'll have 1 and then 2, just like that. Okay? So let me just do this. So it's like the first step, this is the second step, and then over here, I'll put it in purple. This is where decimal point will go. So my final answer is actually 7.71. Okay? Now, moving on to the next one. So 4.13 times 9.6, let's just write it out like normal. 413 times 96. Let's find the answer. 3 times 6 is 18, so put the 8 here. Carry the 1. 1 times 6 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then 4 times 6 is 24, so put that at the end there. Now, since we're done with multiplying by 6, we now need to multiply by the 9. So what I would highly recommend is put a 0 here at the end. And this is where you're going to start writing your numbers when you multiply. Now, a good tip here is just look at where the number you're multiplying is and make sure you start off directly underneath. So we now have 9 times, 3 times 9 I mean, which is 27. Put the 7 here, carry the 2. Now in this case, because we finished with this carried 1, we can technically get rid of it now and just replace it with the new one here. So 3 times 9 was 27, put the 7 here, carry the 2. 1 times 9 is 9, plus the 2 gives me 11. Now carry the 1. And then 4 times 9 here is 36, plus 1 is 37, like so. And then finally at the end, all you're going to do is just add these numbers up. So I will now end up with 8 plus 0 is 8. 7 plus 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. Plus the extra 1 is 6. 2 plus 7 is 9. And in this case here, you'll see an empty gap. So you just got to pretend it's a 0. So 0 plus 3 equals to 3. Now, just following step 2 again, count how many decimal places there are in the original question. So in my case here, I have 1 decimal place, and then I got 2 decimal places here. So just go 2 plus 1 equals 3 decimal places. Just like so. And now what we're going to do, we're going to put the decimal point at the end here and count backwards 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And this is where my final decimal point will be. So my answer is just going to be 39.648. Now you give this a try, okay? I'll leave it on there for a couple seconds. I'll pause it. I'll do the solutions, and then we'll move on to the next part. Alright, here you go. Hopefully you got the answers that I got here. So let's move on. So we are now done with multiplying decimals. The next thing we're going to cover is dividing decimals. So some key terms that you need to know: the divisor and the dividend, okay? The divisor just means the number you divide by, and the dividend just means the number being divided, very simply. So 3 steps again, so let's just go do it. Step 1. Move the decimal point in the divisor to make it a whole number. Okay, this step is very important. Okay, you need to know how to do that. And then step 2 says move the decimal point in the dividend the same number of places as step 1. I'll show you how this works, but this is how you'll do it for now. And then final step is just apply short division, okay? So I have 35.756 divided by 4. So let's just go through step 1. Move the decimal point in the divisor to make it a whole number. In this case here, I'll just jot it down real quick. So this is divisor. This here is dividend. So my divisor, I don't need to move any decimal points. So I'm comfortable with this as it is. So we can technically skip step 1 and step 2 in this case. We now need to do the final step, which is applying short division. So let's just get started here. So 35.756. Now, the easiest way to go about it is just ask yourself, how many 4s go into 3? The answer is 0. Cool. So I'm just going to put a 0 here for now. And what happens here, just like before, is this now becomes 35. And then how many 4s go into 35 here? So this is where your times tables come in handy. I can tell for certain that the number would be 8. But the thing is, there's a remainder because 8 times 4 equals 32 and 9 times 4 equals 36. So basically, it's like how far away from 3 are we from 32 to 35? So we just go plus 3. Okay, so we know the remainder is 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 3 here. And this number now reads as the number 37. Okay. Now make sure that the decimal point lines up exactly like so. Okay, the decimal point is exactly lined up. So I'll just make sure decimal point is exactly lined up. And then how many 4s going to 37? It's 9 times with 1 remainder. How many 4s going to 15? So this now reads as 15 here. How many 4s going to 15? It's 3 times with 3 remainder. And then finally this one here gets read as 36. How many 4s going to 36? It is exactly 9 times. So now my final number is just 8.939. Just like so. Now the second question is where we're going to have to follow all 3 steps here. So let's get to it. So step 1, move the decimal point in the divisor to make it a whole number. So just to reiterate, this is divisor, this is dividend. Now as you can see, I'm just going to write 0.03. I need to turn this into a whole number, so I'm going to move the decimal point to the right until it just goes after the number here. As you can see, we moved it twice. 2 times. And now step 2 here says that we need to move the decimal point in the dividend the same number of places as step 1. So if we move the divisor 2 times, we now need to move the dividend 2 times. So this now becomes 6413.7. Let me just write this down here. 64.137. I'm just gonna do this. Oh, let me change this to black. 1, 2. So there we go. So this now reads as 6413.7. Okay. So to rewrite it, it would become 6413.7 divided by 3. And let's just set it up exactly like we did before. Just follow the same steps. How many 3's going to 6? Twice. How many 3's going to 4? 1 time with 1 remainder. This now reads as 11. How many 3's going to 11? 3 times with 2 remainder. What I'll do is I'll just 2 remainder. How many 3's going to 23? How many 3's going to 23? It is exactly 7 times with a 2 remainder. This reads as 27 now. Let's make sure we put the decimal point in exactly there. And then how many 3's going to 27? It is 9 times exactly. So now my final answer is 2137.9. Okay? Write that very properly. There we go. So try these ones out now. Okay, give it a go. I'll leave it up there for a couple seconds and then I'll have my solutions up here. These are the solutions here. There's one thing I forgot to point out it is at this stage here, as you can see, the decimal point is at the end, but I still have a remainder. If you had a look here, when 5 goes into 24, it's exactly 4 times, but there is a 4 remainder here. What you're technically supposed to do here is just add in an extra 0 and attach the remaining 4 to it. And this now becomes the number 40. And then you just continue on like always. What I will do is in class, I will provide more practice on these kinds of questions so that we can get used to this so that we're not confused at all next time we come across it, okay? So if you got these answers here, great, awesome. If you sort of got stuck on the second one, don't worry. Okay, we'll just practice a bit more. It's perfectly fine. I'm pretty sure the textbook will have some examples as well, but we'll just go do it together. So that's officially the end of dividing decimals, okay? So let's just recap. Can we multiply decimals and can we divide decimals? As we can see, I have covered both dividing decimals and multiplying decimals. I've even given a step-by-step guide. All you have to do now is just practice and get used to it, okay? So this is the final thing for the second half here. I'm actually going to change this. I just need to check if the textbook is available. Let me find it. No, that's not the one. No, that's not the one. Is it this one? So let's just find this. Region, right, we have gone too far. We need 23E. I'll probably just make you do 6 to 8, all of them. So this now gets changed. I'm just going to change it. So what you need to do is not this. You need to do question 6 to 8 full. And then you do question 10 and 11. Okay? That's all you got to do. Alright, take care. Enjoy.